What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to some more Apocaflix movies news coverage we got going on here. I am Jake Berlin, and again, I am joined by Brian Avolicino. And
Hello.
As the title suggests, we are here to cover some Power Rangers news, which has not been in the news world as of recent months and years because the movie came out in 2017. And it kind of went quiet after that. But now we got some new news, and the news may be good to some, may be disappointing to others, but that news is, and as with most news stories, nothing is confirmed or official as of yet. This is all rumors and speculation. This doesn't just come from a random person, though. I will say this does come from someone who was in the first movie and leading the first movie, so that's kind of a big deal.
Next to the bad guy, probably the most important character.
Yeah, exactly. Just to kind of break it down a little bit, Dacre Montgomery, who played the Red Ranger in the 2017 reboot, the big budget film version. Obviously, he plays Billy in Stranger Things, and he's doing a bunch of rounds for that because that show just released a couple weeks ago. And he was on Reddit, and a fan asked him a question regarding a sequel to his movie or what the status of any kind of Power Ranger stuff is. And for that question, he responded with the following answer. He said, "I think there's a movie in the works, but it's not with me and the cast. So yes, but not with us." And of course, being the internet that it is, it lit itself on fire, and it went everywhere. People were talking about it like crazy because obviously this is some pretty big news. But again, as I mentioned earlier, nothing official has come from Hasbro or Lionsgate, who did the first movie. Nothing has come from anybody in that camp, and so we don't know if this is official. But for the sake of this video, we are going to talk about it as if it is actually happening and that there is in fact a reboot. And so,
Brian, him saying that,
it does kind of make sense. And so, out of the two of us, Brian is much more in the Power Rangers know than I am. Jacob is our Power Rangers guru. He's not with us today. So we're kind of going to go a little back and forth on this. But just right out the gate, Brian, you hear this. Is this something that you were expecting and wanted, or would you have rather seen a sequel with that cast that possibly went in a little bit of a different direction than that first movie?
I always thought I would eventually lean to one side of the should they come back, should they not. I'm still in the exact same spot of
interesting. For 2 years now.
For 2 years, I literally, part of me would like to see what they were going to do, and part of me is like, good. I'm glad that they're rebooting it, because my biggest problem with that movie is I hated, as a Power Rangers person, this was literally my childhood obsession. I hated how they... Oh, well, that's obvious. But I hated the Megazords.
Fair.
I hated the costumes. The power suits and whatever you want to call it. They just looked fake. It just did not, it just didn't work with me. But I loved the characters. The actors and the characters were so good. They were all so good, and that's the part that I'm struggling with, is because those 5 were great. They were so good. I wish they would just reboot it with the same actors and just hit a redo, because those 5 kids were perfect. Awesome.
That's why I personally lean towards a sequel, because of that reason.
Yeah.
You can get a different director, and you can get, maybe the studio's like, okay, maybe we do need to go in a different direction, and maybe, dumb down on taking it so serious, and maybe put a little bit of that campy flavor into it, whether it's the look or the tone of the movie. Because the 5 kids were perfect. Becky G as the Yellow Ranger, awesome. Naomi Scott is blowing up. She's incredible in everything she does. Obviously, Dacre Montgomery is killing on Stranger Things. RJ Seiler is hilarious. Ludi Lin was an Aquaman. Now he's possibly in the running for playing Shang-Chi in Marvel. Like, these 5 kids were the perfect choices to play these characters, and the chemistry was good. And so that's why
And
I
I
would.
loved Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah, no, and a lot of people were worried about her, and the way that the character was and how she played her. A lot of people liked it, and so I mean, hell, Elizabeth Banks has been killing it as a director. Why not give her a directing shot as the movie? I mean,
Seriously.
she played the character in the first one. Like, we'll have to see how Charlie's Angels is, obviously, but she could probably take over the franchise. But that's why I would much rather see a sequel of this, because we've seen plenty of franchises in the past be like, okay, we made a movie that obviously people want to see, but it wasn't what we wanted it to be. Let's revamp it, make something new for the sequel, and kind of see how it goes. We've seen that
Yeah.
plenty of times before. And so why
Yeah.
can't they do that with something like Power Rangers? Because, I mean, quite honestly, like, Power Rangers is one of the biggest effing properties on the planet. This
Yeah.
property is literally like Pokemon. Like, this thing is everywhere.
I mean, it's still on American TV.
Yes, and the fact that this hasn't gotten a real big budget movie outside of the 2017 version is like, it's a real shame. You know, we just got the first legit Pokemon movie. Maybe like Hasbro, like I really think that they could do a sequel and they can make it really cool and get a director that be like, okay, let's change this up a little bit. Like, I agree with you on the suits. I don't know a lot about Power Rangers, and so the Zords are like whatever to me. Like, they look cool, awesome. Like, I don't have any prior connection to them, so they don't matter to me that much. I definitely
Yeah.
agree with you on the suits. I thought the suits were just a little too much. Like, they just felt like it was too much. And if
Yeah.
like I like the Iron Man effect where they look they look like suits. They're not just like the latex or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I like the suit factor, but they were like too pointy and like alien looky and all that type of
Yeah.
stuff. Like, kind of like dumb that down a little bit, smooth some edges out, and just give us a really cool movie with a bunch of teenagers who kick ass. Like,
Yeah.
the final act of that movie. If you gave me that final act for a whole movie, I'm totally in. Like, I'm totally in.
Yeah. I agree with everything you said. I mean, it the heart of the movie was awesome. Like, there's aspects of that movie that are like the essence of a Power Ranger type story, and it's a bummer it didn't take off. It did horrible at the box office too.
One, I don't have the box office numbers up on it, but
I
wanna
have it
say
right in front of me.
How did it do internationally?
Uh, well, it's right now. It's saying the budget was 105 and the box office pulled in 142.
Total?
That's
Or is that
what
just domestically?
I mean, that's what Wikipedia is saying. Wikipedia usually puts up the whole
Wow,
entire.
that means
It says right here on Wikipedia. It was also a box office disappointment, grossing 142 million worldwide against a budget of 105 million.
that means it absolutely got obliterated in the U.S.
Yeah,
Like, then you know what that means is that the hardcore Power Rangers fans didn't buy into it.
no.
That they didn't like the way it looks, which I understand why the company or the studio would want to do a reboot because of that reason. But at the same time, it's like, you've assembled such a good team, like with the actors, like, you can easily just revamp it and make something new, and people would easily go see it.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly think the look really hurt it with a lot of people.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Because, yeah.
I I remember seeing it and going, what the heck are they wearing? Like,
yeah.
They literally look like wonky.
Well, everybody called them.
Suits.
Yeah, I mean, they said that they looked like Iron Man, like it was the Iron Man effect.
Yeah,
That's essentially what they did.
I do think. Well, let's see. What was around? What was comic books coming out in 2017?
2017 was like Thor Ragnarok, and Wonder Woman came out in 2017.
So we were in a peak. We were coming off some big stuff. And I think they might have went a little too hard trying to make them superheroes instead of keeping it a little more grounded, like the comic books and all that.
Well, I know that Power Rangers, they have comic books, but it's not I wouldn't classify it as a comic book movie, personally.
Oh no,
It's
not.
It's based off of a TV show.
The
And
TV
so
show is the moneymaker.
yeah, and so why would you try to put it in that genre? Because it's going to get absolutely crushed.
Yeah,
Absolutely crushed.
Yeah, it's a bummer, but so be it. If they're gonna redo it, they know the mistakes they made. Now they're gonna go for it better.
Yeah, and hopefully they can assemble just as good of a cast because that cast was really good.
That cast was
Really,
good.
like I'm gonna miss seeing Dacre in the red suit and Naomi Scott as the Pink Ranger and
Oh, 100%.
like,
all of them were perfect. All of them.
yeah, it's gonna be a bummer. And then obviously the whole Green Ranger setup at the very end with was it
Yeah.
Tommy, I believe.
Yeah, Tommy's
So,
the Green Ranger. Yeah,
Yeah, so
it's a bummer, but
yeah,
so
it
be it.
definitely is. All right, well,
well.
there's our talk on Power Rangers, a possible reboot in the making. Seems like Hasbro is going to be moving forward and separating itself from the 2017 version and giving us something new. Whether you like it or not, leave some thoughts in the comments down below. Make sure you follow us on iTunes, Instagram, this YouTube channel. Hit Brian up on Twitter, Instagram, me, Twitter, Instagram, obviously. Thank you for joining us on this coverage of Power Rangers today. Subscribe as always, really, really appreciate it, and we will see you guys next time.